Hello and welcome to the third video of our NSAT video series. In this video, we will be discussing English section. So following up on the previous videos, we'll start with the objective of testing English. Why do we evaluate English in first place? So the fundamental idea here is that in the B.Tech program as well as in your later career in tech, being able to communicate your ideas to another person and be able to understand their ideas in your head in a common language, which is currently English, is very critical and almost essential. And being able to understand their ideas is non-negotiable or bare minimum that is required for the communication skills, and that is what we test here. The idea here is not to test you on the grammar rules or not to ask you to memorize 1,000 words. The idea here that you should be able to express your ideas to someone else and you should be able to understand someone else's idea. So that is the requirement that we are looking at, and that is what we will be testing through this section. Alright. So let us start with the details of the section. This section is divided into two subsections. One is reading comprehension and the other is language reasoning. In reading comprehension, there would be a large text and few questions would be given on that same text. In language reasoning, smaller pieces of text would be there, one or two sentences or few sentences, and each text would have its own specific question. So let us start with few examples of what kind of text would be there and what kind of questions would be there. So text, when we say text, that means a paragraph or a few sentences. And what can be the complexity of this text? So the complexity of the text across this section would be similar to what we read in the popular news publications, or which is also equivalent to 10th class textbook of English language. So that is the level of complexity that you should understand. You don't need to be very fluent in this language. You just need to have basic fluency with respect to reading and writing the text. So that is what is required. With respect to questions, specific questions. So what kind of questions you can expect? So the first and foremost would be that there is a piece of text that is given. You are able to identify a few things from that. What kind of things? So first can be, let's say, summary of that thing. What is the essence or what is the tone that the author is trying to convey? Second can be slightly more reasoning way, that okay, what is the argument that is presented in that text, and what can be a supporting argument and what can be an opposing argument of that. Alright. Third might be, let's say, a few pieces of text are given and you are asked that which of these is correct or what parts of that text is correct. Let's say a sentence is given and a specific phrase from that sentence is underlined, and you are asked that if this phrase, specific few words are correct or not, and there might be a few options which indicate that okay, what can be the alternative to that text. So that kind of error identification questions can be there. Fourth can be again on more reasoning side, that if an explanation of a specific phenomena is given, are you able to identify what are the causes and effect of that phenomenon? So that that indicates a very higher order reasoning skill, which is also critical for your career in computer science as well as artificial intelligence. So let us do a few questions here. The first question is of reading comprehension subsection. As you can see on your screen, this is the passage that is given to you. You can pause the video to read the passage first before we proceed. So the passage is about the emotion of disgust, the emotion that is present whenever we see a strange food item or a strange smell, or we develop specific emotion for a specific item. So here the emotion that is discussed is disgust. Few examples are also given about what kind of objects lead to disgust, and what was slightly it also goes slightly on the evolutionary perspective why disgust exists in first place. Here a specific cheese is also discussed. Cheese that we eat in our daily food items, and why few kind of cheese which are highly fermented lead to the emotion of disgust in first place. So based on the above reading comprehension, two very simple questions are given here. The first is about which food is known as rotten cheese or maggot-ridden cheese. As you might have read in the previous section, you can pause the video if you want to answer on your own. As you might have correctly guessed, the answer is option 4, that is Kasu Marzu. Similarly, very easy second question, what is the purpose of emotion of disgust according to the author? So it is very simple, to avoid a toxic food. So these are the two questions based on reading comprehension. Now here, just for simplicity, we have considered very easy question. Questions in the actual NSAT might be having a slightly higher difficulty level. Let us consider another question. This question is based on language reasoning. So here we are given 4 sentences and we have to identify what is the correct order of the sentences. Okay. So here what kind of things you can take a note of. Specific 4 sentences are about Dutch East India Company. So this Dutch East India Company is not the company that ruled on India. That was just East India Company. This is Dutch, hence it was from Netherlands. But broadly they are similar only. So there are 4 sentences given to us and we have to identify what is the correct order of these sentences. So if we just quickly read through these sentences, we see that in first sentence it is mentioned it was one of the world's first multinational. So here it means that something else is already referring to that company. In second sentence, we see the first word as however, means some argument is already given before that. In third sentence, it is said that the Dutch East India Company and there is no precursor. That is, this sentence can come in the beginning of the paragraph also. And in fourth sentence, it is given that this multinational engaged. So again, this multinational means it is a being reference to the previous sentence. So like broadly we got the idea that sentence 1, 2 and 4 cannot be the first sentence, that is the beginning of the paragraph, and 3 can be. So hence option 3 would be the first sentence in the paragraph. Then we also see that in first sentence, second, so now we have to decide which is the next sentence between first, second and fourth. Now, first sentence describes that okay, what was the role of this company, what was the role of this organization, and it mentions that it was one of the monopolistic trade organization between Netherlands and Asia. Okay. In second sentence, it is shown that okay, however, factors such as corruption, conflicts, and rival colonial powers and economic decline led to the dissolution of BOC. So here it shows that how the company got dissolved or how the company came to its end. And fourth sentence is about description of the trading activity it did. Generally, when such scenarios are given, a good way to identify that how would you describe something? First, you start with its beginning and description. Then you go into the main content, and at the end, specific with respect to timeline things, generally the demise of a specific thing is situated at the end. But here, if you even don't consider that, here in the first sentence, we are saying that okay, this organization conducts trade, and in fourth sentence, it is described what kind of trading activities it does. So first sentence would come before fourth sentence. So till now the order we got is first, third sentence will come and first and fourth. Now we have to identify what is the position of second sentence. So based on this, it is shown that Dutch East India Company was growing at very fast rate. It was doing multiple trade, and second sentence describes the demise of this company, and hence it should come after all 3 sentences and not at the second position. So the order of the sentence would be 3, 1, 4 and 2. Alright. So this is about the question based on language reasoning. Let us do another question for language reasoning. So here we are given a piece of text, and based on this text we have to identify what are the beliefs that author is most likely to have. You can pause the video and go through this text. Cool. So now since you have gone through the text, let us try to understand what is this paragraph about. So this paragraph discusses the topic of nuclear energy. It also shows that what kind of other sources of energies are there and what are the concerns that people mostly have with respect to nuclear energy and what kind of things that we can do. So here the author broadly has this view, broadly tries to explain the concept and what are the pros and cons of that. So let us consider the question that we have and the options we have. So here we are asked that based on above text, what are the kind of beliefs that author is likely to have. So we are given 4 options here. The first option is the author expresses trust in stringent safety measures, regulation and advanced designs in place to ensure safe operation of nuclear power plants. So if we see the last sentence of the text, it mentions while it presents challenges, advancements in safety measures and waste management continue to make it a viable option. So here the author is positive about the endeavor of nuclear energy, and he is also considering that we need to have good safety measure as well as waste management mechanisms. So this seems to be the likely option. We'll also see other options. Option 2 is the author acknowledges gap in scientific research and technological threats in the fission process, indicating a disbelief in the potential of nuclear energy. So this stands opposite to what author is saying. So author here tries to give us scientific arguments as well as backing that technologically nuclear fission process is not a threat and it's a sufficiently safe process if the process is followed well, and he is not in disbelief of the potential of nuclear energy. So option 2 seems wrong. Option 3, the author does not feel safe because of long-term effects of nuclear waste, suggesting that even innovative technologies cannot minimize risk to the environment and public health. So again, this also stands slightly on the opposite side of the author's belief, because author is clearly saying that good waste management practice can make it a very viable option for our energy. And fourth option is the author would promote adoption of nuclear energy across countries, irrespective of safety laws and waste management process. So again, this shows that author is too positive and considers that safety measures or waste management practices are not required in the seriousness that he has mentioned here. So this also seems to be slightly on over positive side where author is not standing, and hence option 1 seems to be the correct answer here. So that is with respect to the English section. In next video, we will be discussing the math section. All the best for your NSAT.